People love to make assumptions about you. They see you doing your own thing, staying quiet, keeping to yourself, and suddenly they've got you all figured out, except they don't. They've created this whole story in their heads about who you are and what you're about, and none of it is even close to the truth. But here's the annoying part. They won't just keep their opinions to themselves. They have to comment, they have to question, and they have to make it weird. Let's get into the 8 most annoying things that only Sigma males truly get. If these sound familiar, you know exactly what I'm talking about. If they don't, well, this probably isn't for you. And stick around, because number 5 is the one that'll make you want to just stop talking to people altogether. It's the most frustrating one by far. Number 1, being private makes people think you're hiding something. You usually mind your own business and don't look for attention. You prefer to stay low-key and under the radar. You don't like people knowing too much about you or making you a target. Sigma males have this natural way of keeping things to themselves, not because they're mysterious or playing games, but because it just feels right. You don't feel the need to tell everyone everything about your life, but people can't handle that. They need to know about you, so they feel like they know you, like they can predict everything about you. Otherwise, you're anonymous, unpredictable, uncontrollable. And this is not a good feeling to have, especially for those who love to be in charge, to control, to manipulate. When you don't give them that information freely, they start making things up in their heads. They think you're being shady or that you've got secrets. They create entire stories about what you must be hiding behind closed doors. The reality is pretty boring though. You're not hiding anything dramatic or living some secret double life. You're just living your life without needing to put it all on display for everyone to see and comment on. You value your space and understand that not everything needs to be shared or posted or talked about with everyone you meet. Your life isn't some reality show, and you're not looking for an audience to approve of every move you make. But people can't accept that simple explanation. They need constant updates and details and the play-by-play of your entire day. When you don't hand it over, they get weird about it and start asking things like, "Why are you so secretive?" Or, "What are you really up to?" And you're sitting there thinking, "I'm not secretive. I just don't owe you an explanation for every single thing I do with my time." But if you say that out loud, you sound defensive. So you just stay quiet and let them think whatever they want. And that makes them even more convinced that you're hiding something major. It's this cycle that never ends. You're not trying to be mysterious and you're not playing games. You're just living on your terms, and privacy is part of that. But in a world where everyone shares everything all the time, your silence looks sketchy to them. That's their issue to deal with, not yours. Number 2, you feel more drained by fake praise than by criticism. Most people love compliments. Someone tells them they did a good job and they're riding that high for the rest of the week. But for Sigma males, shallow praise is actually draining. It feels empty and fake. When someone gives you a compliment that they clearly don't mean, it actually takes more energy out of you than an insult ever could. Criticism doesn't bother you much. If someone has something real to say, even if it's harsh, you can at least respect that. You can work with it and learn from it and move forward. But when someone hits you with that surface level, "Oh wow, good job," when they don't even know what you did or why it matters, it feels insulting. It feels like they're just saying what they think they're supposed to say to be polite. You're not sitting around waiting for approval from other people. You know what you've done and what you're capable of doing. But people think they're being nice by tossing random compliments your way, and you have to sit there and pretend like you're grateful for their empty words. It's exhausting, honestly. And here's the worst part about it. You can't explain this to anyone without sounding like an ungrateful jerk who can't accept a simple compliment. People will say, "Why can't you just take a compliment?" But they don't get it because it's not about taking or rejecting compliments. It's about valuing real words over empty ones. Fake praise just feels like noise that messes with your head, while at least criticism gives you something real to think about and work on. Number 3, you see the problem coming, but nobody listens until it happens. Your friend starts dating someone new, and within the first conversation, you can already tell this person is going to be a disaster. Maybe it's the way they talk about their ex, maybe it's how they treat the waiter, maybe it's just something off in their energy. You mention it casually, just trying to look out for your friend, and they get defensive immediately. They think you're being negative or jealous, or just trying to ruin their happiness. 6 months later, that relationship implodes in exactly the way you predicted. Or your coworker gets too close to that weird manager who clearly plays favorites, and you see where it's headed. You try to give them a heads up, and they act like you're overthinking it. Then, boom, they're caught in the middle of office drama, wondering how it all went wrong. Or maybe it's that uncle at family gatherings who keeps making questionable financial decisions, and you can see the pattern forming, but nobody wants to hear it because he's family and he means well. This is just how Sigma males process information. You pick up on patterns that others miss because you're watching from the outside. You're not emotionally involved, so you see the red flags clearly. But when you try to warn people, they take it as criticism or negativity. They don't want the truth if it disrupts their comfortable view of the situation. Then it all falls apart exactly like you said it would. And suddenly they're coming to you stressed out and looking for advice. They want you to help them fix the mess that could have been avoided from the start. And you do help, because that's what you do. But inside, you're thinking, "I told you this would happen 2 months ago, and you called me dramatic." But you can't say that without sounding arrogant, so you just help them clean up and keep your mouth shut about how avoidable it all was. The cycle never ends, though. You spot the next red flag in their next relationship, or their next business idea, or their next impulsive decision, and they brush you off again. It's like being the only sober person, watching everyone else make drunk decisions, and they all think you're the one missing out on the fun. Number 4, you catch things fast, but have to pretend you don't. You're quick and you pick up on things right away. Someone explains something once, and you've already got it, understanding the concept and the plan and the whole picture. But if you show that you understood too fast, people get weird about it. They get insecure and think you're showing off or trying to make them look slow. So you've learned to play it down. You ask follow-up questions you don't actually need, and nod along like you're still thinking it through. You act like it's taking you longer than it really is, all because you don't want to make other people feel uncomfortable around you. This is exhausting, by the way. You're literally slowing yourself down to match the pace of everyone around you and dimming your own light so others don't feel like they're in your shadow. The worst part about it is that nobody even notices or appreciates the fact that you're holding back. They just assume you're on the same level as them. And if you do let it slip that you understood something right away, people get defensive real quick. They say things like, "Oh, so you think you're smarter than everyone else?" Or, "Must be nice to be a genius." It's not about being smarter, it's just about processing information fast. But people take it personally anyway because it makes them feel inadequate. Sigma males deal with this constantly because they naturally process things faster than most people. You've learned that it's just easier to pretend, to act slower than you are, and pretend you need more explanation. It's a way to survive social situations without making waves. But it's annoying as hell to constantly downplay your abilities just to make others feel comfortable. Number 5. People confuse your peace with boredom. You're satisfied with where you're at. You don't need constant excitement or to be out every single night, chasing thrills or filling every moment with noise and chaos. You found peace in being alone, and you enjoy your own company. You're comfortable with silence, and that's actually a powerful thing to have. But people don't see it that way. They see you sitting quietly and not joining in on their chaos, so they assume you're bored and missing out on life. They try to drag you into their drama or their plans because they think you need saving from yourself. Don't you get bored? They ask, expecting you to admit that you're miserable. But no, you're not bored at all, because there's a massive difference between boredom and peace. Most people have never experienced real peace in their lives though, so they can't even recognize it when they see it. They confuse it with emptiness or lack of excitement because their brains are wired to need constant stimulation. This is something Sigma males understand differently than most people. Your peace is something you worked for and didn't just stumble into by accident. You cut out the noise, the toxic people, and the meaningless activities that drain your energy. You built a life that feels calm and balanced. And people look at that and think something's wrong with you, like you're missing something important or need more of what they have to be truly happy. But you don't need more. You're good where you are because you figured out what actually matters to you, and you're living based on that understanding. The annoying part is that people won't leave you alone about it. They keep trying to pull you back into the chaos because they can't stand seeing someone who's genuinely at peace without chasing what they chase to feel fulfilled. Number 6. You're called emotionless for not overreacting to everything. Something happens, maybe it's bad news or a setback or some drama between other people. Everyone around you is freaking out and getting emotional and loud and losing it over the situation, and you're just calm, thinking it through and focused on finding solutions instead of drowning in feelings. And what do they say to you? Why are you so emotionless? Or don't you even care? Of course you care, but you just don't see the point in losing your mind over something you can't control in the moment. You understand that overreacting doesn't solve anything and just makes the situation worse, so you stay level and logical and in control of yourself. But people see you're calm and think it means you're cold, like you're a robot who doesn't feel things the way they do. That's not even close to true, because you feel things deeply. You just don't put on a performance with every emotion that crosses your mind. You handle things internally and deal with them in your own way, in your own time. The annoying part is that people expect you to match their energy. They want you to panic with them and back up their overreactions by joining in. When you don't, they make you the bad guy and act like your calm is some kind of personal attack on how they're feeling. Sigma males get labeled this way constantly because they're not controlled by their emotions. There's a big difference between being emotionless and being in control. Most people don't get that though. They think if you're not visibly upset and freaking out with everyone else, you must not care about what's happening. That's just not how you work. Number 7. People ask questions, then argue with your answers. Someone asks you a question, maybe it's for advice or your view on something or just your take on a situation. You give them an honest answer with no sugarcoating, telling them exactly what you think. And what do they do with that information? They start arguing with you about it. They didn't actually want your answer. They wanted you to agree with what they already believed and give them approval for a decision they'd already made. When you don't give them that validation, they get defensive and start picking apart everything you said. They debate you on every little point, and you're sitting there thinking, then why did you even ask me in the first place if you didn't want to hear the real answer? This happens constantly with Sigma males because people know you're going to be honest. They know you'll give them the real answer instead of the polite one that makes them feel good. But when that real answer isn't what they wanted to hear, they turn the whole thing into a debate. They want you to change your answer to fit their version of events, and when you don't bend, they act like you're being difficult or harsh. You've learned not to waste your energy on these conversations anymore. If someone asks you something and then argues with everything you say, you mentally check out and stop trying. You let them have their little debate with themselves while you move on. You're not here to convince anyone of anything because you gave your answer, and what they do with it is completely up to them. But it's annoying and draining. It makes you way less likely to share your thoughts in the future, because why bother giving your view if people are just going to fight you on it? So you start keeping more things to yourself, and then people wonder why you're so quiet all the time and never share your opinion anymore. Number 8, you fix the problem in your head, but explaining it takes forever. This is the big one that makes you want to walk away from every single conversation. You see a problem and you look at it from all angles, running through the options and the outcomes and what could go wrong and what could go right. You solve it in your head while everyone else is still explaining what the problem even is. The whole thing takes you maybe 30 seconds. Done, problem solved, ready to move on. But now comes the hard part. You have to explain it to other people, and this is where everything falls apart. What took you 30 seconds to figure out is going to take you 10 full minutes to explain. And even then, people still might not get it. They're going to ask more questions and want you to break it down even further. They're going to challenge your logic because they didn't see what you saw in your head. So you're stuck in this exhausting position where you have the solution sitting right there in your brain, but you can't just do it. You have to walk everyone else through your entire thought process, step by step, and explain why this is the right move. You have to defend every little detail. By the time you're done explaining everything, you're mentally drained from just talking about it. And here's the real kicker. Sometimes by the time you've explained everything, someone else takes credit for the idea, or people act like it was obvious all along, like anyone could have thought of it if they just tried. Or they thank you, but you can tell they don't really understand what you just did for them. They just trust that you probably know what you're talking about. This is where Sigma males get frustrated with group work and team projects. You're fast and you solve problems quickly and want to move on. But you're living in a world that moves way slower than you do. You have to constantly adjust and slow yourself down and over-explain just to get people on the same page as you. It's exhausting and frustrating, and it makes you want to just stop explaining and handle everything by yourself, where you don't have to justify every step. But you can't always do that. So you keep explaining and keep breaking things down into smaller pieces. You keep walking people through your process like you're teaching a class. And you keep wishing that just once, someone would keep up without you having to spell out every single thing. You made it to the end, which means something here clicked for you. These are real things that happen when you have one of the rarest personality types. And now you know you're not the only one who feels it. So, which one bothers you the most? Drop a comment and let me know. If you're not subscribed yet, hit that button and join the biggest Sigma community on YouTube. Thanks for watching. If you want more, I recommend watching the video on the screen right now.